6 this week. Obviously, the draws always triples up. 58 for me, cumulatively 61 for you. That could all change next week with a bumper pick.
A big weekend, isn't there?
Super Brew. Owen Hughes stays top. Lee Whitnell wears the yellow cap though this week, largely thanks to his pick of the draw in the Wigan Warrington game.
Shout, Mr. Whitnell.
The Dream Team, we have a new leader. It's Stephen Bowie who's taken over at the top spot, although he was narrowly beaten by Vicky B's 708 to the best score of the week.
Yeah.
Departing leader, Paul Wilson, got in touch to say... like all chances and Lauren Fraser knew, my run of good fortune had to come to an end at some time. Hawaii Trio and Vicky's Vulcans look like they actually know what they are doing, so I fully expect to sink back to mid-table mediocrity. But mercifully, no slaughterhouse visit for me.
Absolutely. Well, it is a mercy. Right.
Well done, Paul. That was a great little comment.
Nice.
That would be the tweet of the week if we had such a game still.
I thought I'd already ordered tweet of the week. We can have two, can't we?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the Super League well and truly covered. Let's take a look now at some results from elsewhere in the world of rugby league. Okay, so round 14 of the Championship occurred this weekend. Mark Featherstone with 52 points to 10 winners over second bottom Dewsbury. Toulouse got a to win over Sheffield Eagles, 45 points to 20. The hapless Bradford Bulls were defeated by London Broncos, 56 points to 12 at Odsal. Halifax were 28 points to 2 winners over the Rochdale Hornets. Hull KR got a 42 points to 18 win over the Swinton Lions. And Oldham were defeated at home 28 points to 48 by Batley Bulldogs.
Yeah, and the only game I really know anything of note about is the Batley one. Don Brown Barney got sin-binned and later sent off.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I've not read about that one.
Not at the same time, so he didn't like Jake Emmett it, but...
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So what does that? So all that means that Hull KR sit top with a 4-point lead over Featherstone, with Toulouse and London making up the top 4. Halifax sit just behind them on points difference. Sheffield and Batley come next, but 8 points adrift of the top 5. Oldham stay 8th ahead of Rochdale and Swinton, and Dewsbury are on 2 points. Bradford stay on -2 and at the bottom of the table. It was round 8 of League One this weekend, and in the now traditional precursor to the Magic Weekend, Newcastle were defeated at home 18 points to 22 by the York City Knights. South Wales were beaten 18-38 by the Oxford Blues. Our League One game of the week was Toronto versus Barrow, and it turned into another blowout with the Wolfpack winning 70 points to 2 over the Cumbrians. And Bri Davies got in touch with his mark.
We said Barrow without 4 players due to their own incompetence, thinking they get all the visas sorted in 2 days. Yeah, for people with previous convictions and stuff, I think, along the way. I don't know, but plan ahead, kids. We're going to be up against it. The 3 back-to-back tries for Toronto killed off any hopes, and it became a bit of a procession. Fui must be loving the twilight of his career, whilst Braley is like the kid at school who likes standing out in a poor team but hasn't got what it takes against the better kids.
Couldn't agree more.
Actually, this game was close for 25 minutes, and then Toronto just scored those 3 full-length back-to-back tries that almost shot out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It showed that Barrow didn't have the depth on the bench that they would normally be able to put forward, I suppose. But
they've been let down by 3 players dicking up, haven't they?
Well, or themselves. I mean, they've questioned whether they had enough resources to be able to manage this sort of thing. I would suggest if you're running a semi-professional outfit, then you would plan ahead for an event that you know sometime in advance is happening.
Plus,
get your visas sorted out, and then one of them was
paying for this.
They're paying for they pay for the cost of the visas, but you have to actually process them, don't you, yourself?
But in terms of their resources, getting visas sorted for people.
Yeah, well, it's all the RFL's fault because they didn't do everything for them.
Is it fuck?
No, I agree. I was,
I know you
facetious.
Yes, I know. Well, I was being less subtle than you. North Wales Crusaders were 50 points to 10 winners over the London Scholars, Mark.
Yeah, and Mark Butler got in touch. Nice to hear from Mark. He said, while Magic Jamboree took place in Newcastle, I took my daughter to her first game. Crusaders 50, Scholars 10. She was easily distracted by smartphone games, but Crusaders showed no such lack of focus and basically won the first 20 with the ability to find holes while their opponents couldn't. The game wasn't so intense after that, but the Crusaders kept the scoreboard ticking with some smart tries and deserved this result.
There you go. Coventry Bears were defeated 18 points to 26 by our Gloucestershire All Golds.
Lee Randall said, another 2 points on the ladder with not the best performance. Bombed a few tries which would have made it more comfortable. Just glad to win back-to-back games. Roll on Thunder in a fortnight time. Come on, you All Goals.
Fantastic. And Alan Witts.
He said, a great result for the All Goals. After taking a 10-0 lead, we went in at 12-all at half-time, having failed to capitalise on great field position on more than one occasion. An early converted penalty put the All Goals back in the lead and didn't look back. Although we could have scored more and we missed some kicks, it was a great performance and a well-deserved second win in a row. Come on, you All Goals.
Fantastic. And the other games this weekend in League One saw Doncaster defeat Keighley Cougars by 28 points to 14. Hunslet were 30 points to 22 winners over Workington, and Whitehaven got a 58 points to 24 win over the Hemel Stags.
Toronto are now out on their own as the only unbeaten side at the top, although Barrow stay second on points difference ahead of Whitehaven, who quietly have gone about their things and have only lost to Toronto themselves.
Yeah.
Oxford take over the lead for the Southern sides, with them and the All Goals leapfrogging the Scholars this weekend.
It was round 11 of the NRL, and my Cronulla Sharks got an 18 points to 14 victory over the North Queensland Cowboys.
Yeah, Elliot Wrench got in touch with this one, so took some time out from learning guitar to watch some NRL. He said, I watched this with added interest because I've got Sharks 8 points over Cowboys on Superoo. Initially, the jockeys looked good without JT and some special kicking, but as the commentator said, Maloney and his boot told in the end. Tom will be happy, and I got some Bree points.
An SLP win. There you go, absolutely. It was the New Zealand Warriors 14, St George Illawarra Dragons 30. The Brisbane Broncos nilled West Tigers and scored 36 themselves at Suncorp. The Gold Coast Titans were beaten at home 10 points to 30 by the Manly Sea Eagles.
Joe Greenwood, though, did run for 104 metres for the Titans.
He did indeed. The Parramatta Eels were beaten 16 points to 22 by the Canberra Raiders.
Yeah, it was about time the Raiders won a close one, really, because they've been either blowing teams away with great performances or having bad ones. Hodgson, try-assist, Whitehead, 41 tackles, worked hard.
Newcastle Knights were defeated 20 points to 30 by the Penrith Panthers.
Wardle played.
There you go. The Bulldogs were beaten at home 18 points to 24 by the Sydney Roosters.
Yeah, despite that, James Graham, comedian.
Singer. He's a
very philosopher.
He's a proper he's a proper ginger renaissance man, isn't he?
114 metres.
The final game of the weekend saw the South Sydney Rabbitohs defeated by the Melbourne Storm.
Yeah, and despite the scoreline reversal in Perth, Tom Burgess 137 metres, Sam Burgess 187 metres, so did well from a Brit point of view.
The score was 6 points to 14. By the way.
What did we say?
Oh, well, I didn't read the score. I just said that the Rabbitohs were defeated by the Melbourne Storm.
Oh, right. Sorry, did I jump in?
It's fine, mate. Don't worry about it. This is,
We're all off kilter.
We are all slightly out of kilter. So it's still the Storm from the Broncos, Sharks and Roosters at the top of the ladder, and it's still the Knights at the bottom. Not much change there. So that's the world of rugby league well and truly covered. Let's bring you now our previews and predictions as we look into the future ahead of round 15 and round 16 of Super League. Okay, so it's the bank holiday. I sounded very Chris Tarrant-y then, didn't I? I heard myself then. Bloody hell. It's the bank holiday weekend, Mark, which means we've got 2 rounds of fixtures, round 15 and and 16 of Super League, and it starts on Thursday night down at the Totally Wicked Stadium where St Helens take on Wigan. And Mark, I'm going for a St Helens victory. You lot are still pretty cut up in terms of your injury crisis. The new head coach seems to have had a positive effect, and this is a big opportunity for the Saints players in front of their fans to get the team back on side. And the way they played against Hull FC leads me to think that they could come away with a victory. I don't think it'll be as high scoring. 20 points to 12 in favour of Saints.
Well, I think Wigan will win.
Of course you do. Tell us why.
The scoreline I'm going to go with is 22-20, but I don't really know what it could be. That's just a stab in the dark, really, because
You've not got Grey Sports Almanac hidden away under there.
But for Saints to win it, they can win it in the forwards, because that's where Wigan are probably the thinnest now, just because the young outside backs are doing so well that it doesn't feel necessarily like they're
struggling in the forwards.
Yeah, other than the problem position of that left centre spot. But Wigan have got some half-backs back now. Luluai or Powell will make this game.
Yeah. That
gives us a little bit more control, and I think some of the things that saw us lose against Warrington wouldn't happen in this game. So I think and Saints, look, one, I always pick my team, and two, can they play ass flawlessly?
Perhaps not. Who knows? Castleford take on the Widnes Vikings down at the Menderhose Jungle. Oh, come on, we don't need to talk about it. Nothing to see here. Castleford are flawless at the minute. Widnes are terrible. 40 points to 6. This is going to be a kick-in.
Yeah, 42-4.
There you go.
So I was, say no more.
Similar margin. Hull FC, though, take on Leigh Centurions on Friday night over in Hull. And they've got a lot of work to do and a lot of things to fix up. I think, though, that if they get that right, if they get their attitude right through the week, that they'll have too much for Leigh, who again might well be the architects of their own downfall, perhaps, rather than victims of Hull's blistering play. But I'm going 20 points to 12 in favour of the FC.
I'm going a little bit bigger in favour of FC, 26-14. The problem with Leigh is I just can't see them doing enough stuff right enough times in a game to win away from home at a team that are going to be smarting.
Yeah. Okay, Leeds take on Warrington on the Friday night TV game then. Headingley, Leeds Rhinos are looking good these days, Mark. Whilst Warrington have made some improvements, I think the Rhinos will have enough to see off Tony Smith's men. 24 points to 18 in a close one.
I think this could be a really good game, but I'm going home advantage, and Leeds are playing slightly better, although both sides very error prone at the moment. 28-22.
Okay, final game of this round. No, not the final game of this round. Salford take on the Catalan Dragons over at the AJ Bell. Well, a lot of people have been accused of not giving Salford credit where it's due, and I certainly plan to from here on in. Catalan, I just don't see them with having just sacked a coach. I don't think they'll get the bounce. that you'd want them to have. And Salford are playing far too well at the minute. 30 points to 10 in favour of a dominant Red Devils pack, I would say.
I've gone exactly the same scoreline. 30 points to 10 in favour of Salford against Catalan. I don't see the bounce back yet, just because I think Salford will be so clinical with the way they'll go about approaching this game.
Yeah, I agree. Wakefield take on Huddersfield in the final game of the round then, and whilst Huddersfield will take a lot of positives in terms of the actual result against Catalan, they were far from convincing for my money, whilst Wakefield have had a day's extra rest and they got a good win over Widnes. At home, Wakefield are a strong proposition with a decent pack and some real power and explosivity out wide. 32 points to 12 in favour of Trim.
I think it'll be a little bit closer. I think a controlled and confident performance from Wakefield, structured, all of that. 28-16 though, because I just don't see them being massive scorers. I don't know why.
There you go. Okay, so on to Bank Holiday Monday then, Mark, and it really does become a crapshoot in terms of predictions at this point, but Huddersfield take on St Helens. I'm going to go for 3 in a row for Saints, going over to West Yorkshire and coming away with a scrappy 18 points to 12 victory over Huddersfield.
I'm going to pick highest. It looks like I think I'm going higher score lines than you most away in these games, as players' defences will be tired towards the end. 30-20 to St Helens, because I think they've got the better team on paper. This will be Danny Brough will be back in that one though, so
maybe
refresh things a bit.
Maybe that'll have an impact. Yeah, certainly for the 15 or 20 minutes that he's on the pitch. Anyway, Warrington take on Salford down at the AJ Bell on Bank Holiday Monday afternoon. Salford, by my predictions, will be reeling from a defeat against the Leeds Rhinos. Sorry, Warrington will be reeling from a defeat against the Leeds Rhinos, while Salford will have had a relatively easy time against the Catalan Dragons. No disparity in the amount of time that these two teams have got to recover. So I think Salford are just about going to edge this one. 22 points to 18 in favour of the Red Devils.
I'm going to go for a Warrington win in this one.
Probably quite right.
I just think that they're bound to have one of those games where more things stick than don't. And I think if it can come against a team that aren't always dynamic high scorers, if you can control... I don't feel like Salford score a ton of long-range stuff. Maybe I'm wrong because I don't know the actual stats, but just thinking off the top of my head about it more than anything. So that's why I'm going to go with Warrington 28-20.
Fantastic. Widnes Vikings welcome the Leeds Rhinos down to the plastic pitch. Sorry, Widnes fans, Leeds are going to be too strong for you as well. 30 points to 14 in favour of the Rhinos.
36-20, I think, for Leeds in this one.
It almost doesn't bear much explanation, does it? Wakefield are the visitors to the DW, though, on Monday afternoon, as they take on your Wigan Warriors. This was the tough one to pick for me. I'm just going to pick you lot. I'm going to have you lot pipping Wakefield. My heart says that Trent might be too strong for you, but I just think at the DW, even with some of the people that you've got out missing, you've got enough to make a result out of this one. So let's say a close one, 19 points to 18, a